You need to get this book I wrote called The Anti-Intellectual Manifesto. Now, you get a blessing out of that. That's a book to prove that every fellow that ever went after education in a big way did it to make a living. And that all the great textbooks written by all the great men are just written to sell to help tradesmen carry on the living. And I call it tradesmen with bloody hands. You know what John R. Rice used to say? He used to say a man that is not winning souls to Christ is guilty of the folly of a short-sighted fool, because he won his soul wise. He's guilty of following Christ afar off, because Christ said, follow me and I'll make you to become fishers of men. And he has bloody hands, because Christ, Ezekiel said, his blood will require your hand. So when John R. Rice was in his right mind, when he was preaching evangelistically, he said that a Christian who isn't winning souls to Christ is following Christ afar off, has bloody hands, and is a short-sighted fool. And then when he lost his mind and wrote a book called Our God-Breathed Bible, he bragged about people like Robert Dick Wilson and B.B. Warfield and J. Gresham Machen, and they never led a soul to Christ in their life. They were 5-point Calvinists who believe in absolute predestination. Every one of them was a fool, with bloody hands, following Christ afar off, according to John R. Rice. Now, you know, when I got my Ph.D. at Bob Jones, I went through a situation there, which you might have guessed. I mean, when I went up to Bob Jones, I wasn't a bright little, neat, sweet, clean-cut young man, 18 or 19 or 20. But I came in there, and the time came to get my doctor's dissertation. You know what I wrote on? I wrote a book on practical theology in the light of the book of Acts. That was my dissertation. You know what that dissertation, the thesis of that thing was? The thesis of that thing was, if a man is not trying to win people to Christ, if he's not making an effort to do it, he's a heretic. That was the thesis. The thesis was, I don't care how much orthodoxy the man professes, if he's not actively engaged in trying to win people to Christ, he's heterodox. He's a heretic. You can imagine how that went over with the faculty and the staff at Bob Jones. Bless my soul, none of which led a soul to Christ in 50 years. I was in a preacher's boys class of 1,200 students under Gilbert Stenholm, and Stenholm, teaching 1,200 young preachers, had never been an evangelist or a pastor or a missionary or a rescue superintendent. What could he teach us?
Jonah. So God literally told me to go to Nineveh, and I said, nope, booked a ship to Tarshish instead. Let's see how that works out. All right, guys, got my ticket to Tarshish. Cheaper than therapy. Just got to stay under God's radar for a bit.
Okay, not gonna lie, I think the radar picked me up. Wind's crazy, ship's shaking, and I'm starting to think God's not thrilled about this trip.
Okay, guys, quick update. I'm the reason for the storm.
They voted, I lost, and apparently the solution is...
All right, not dead. Just got swallowed by something. Smells like a wet camel in here.
Okay, yeah, I deserve this. I ran, I got swallowed, and now I'm literally sitting in fish guts. God, I know you're watching. I'm listening now.
I just got puked out by a fish the size of a house, and I'm covered in stuff I can't even describe. But hey, fresh air. So yeah, learn my lesson. Don't run from God. Like, comment, pray, and I'll see you in Nineveh.